Hello, everybody. Crypto Caesar Capital. Hope you're well. It's the 14th of March, and here is a weekly update for Bitcoin. Looking at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, pretty bullish move. We've had a really decent move to the upside here. In response really to the Silicon Valley Bank going under, and Bitcoin essentially doing what it was designed to do. I think in one of the last videos we looked at the potential, certainly in my group we were looking at the potential of this inverse head and shoulders. Obviously a head and shoulders pattern is a bearish pattern, but an inverse head and shoulders pattern is the opposite and is bullish. So it looks as though it's played out pretty well. It doesn't really matter that the right shoulder is slightly higher than the left shoulder. It could be considered to be a complex head and shoulders, but essentially on a lower time frame. But essentially, we've got a decent left shoulder here. We've got a decent head here, and this little wick to the bottom could well be that low, could be that right shoulder. So looking pretty bullish at the moment, but let's be realistic. Let's not get too excited. All right. Really, for me, what I want to see Bitcoin do on the weekly time frame is close above the 200 week. Okay, and we are literally just above it right now. Okay, the 200 week moving average is around about 25,419. And we've got a few more days yet to close this week off, but I would really like to see Bitcoin closing above that 200 week moving average. I think that that would be a really decent bullish sign. Saying that, my last videos, we were quite clear in the analysis that if we were to break this really stiff resistance, which really this area of let's have a look, accumulation has been going on for a significant period of time. Hang on a moment. I mean, this accumulation has pretty much been going on now for 38 weeks. It's a long time to be stuck down in this kind of area. So we have finally broken above this really stiff resistance, which we got rejected twice over a period of 39 weeks, that stiff resistance at 25k. So it's really positive that we have broken through, sliced through that resistance, but now really we need to be holding the 200 week moving average. So I think that that there is a chance if we hold it or we start moving above that we're going to come down and test it at some point. That being said, the moving average will of course continue to move to the upside, but generally now speaking, the target has to be really around this area of about 29k. That's going to be the area for the bulls. To be honest, when looking at the chart, there isn't much congestion, and when you're trading, you really want to be looking for congestion. So when you're looking for congestion, you have to look left, look at the price action. I mean, what congestion is there to the left here? The answer is not much at all, really. So I think that we've got a really decent chance now of going for this 29k mark. Then I think that might be met with some selling pressure, because there's a bit of resistance here. We've got this support that held back in May 21, June 21, and July 21, and it fell through it here, but it was a little bit of support back in May 22. So there is some support here. Some resistance here, which was once support. So expect some form of selling pressure when we get there. But I think my view has to be that the target now is going to be simply 29k, because there just isn't anything here. There's no congestion, no resistance, unless, for example, something terrible happens and we get some bad news and then it just dumps. But generally speaking, from a technical analysis point of view, there isn't much congestion there. So I think it should be clear skies really up to 28k. The next level after 28k is this kind of mark here around the 34k mark. So it would be interesting to see what happens at 28K. Maybe we get a rejection at 28K, and maybe Bitcoin just wants to cool off a bit. And test that 200-day moving average, which is kind of here, the 25.4 mark. So maybe we get a sort of move up into the 28, and then we come back to test this, and then we get a decent move to the upside, because of course, this is a pretty significant move, and things don't just go up continually without coming down. So everything moves in waves. So chances are is that there is going to be a decent pullback at some point, but the question is, when is that going to be? And I think the likelihood is that the first port of call would be at least the 29K area, but we could break through that, and the next port of call is about the 33K area. But I think, reasonably speaking, I think it's more likely that we have a bit of a pullback at the 28K mark. But for me, the most important thing is holding this area, this 200-week moving average. That's really quite important. Okay, getting above there and holding that in a weekly time frame really would be, I think, the last for the bears, and they would just have to really just give up at that point. In one of my previous videos, I looked at the logarithmic MACD. This is on the 2-week time frame. And we know that the logarithmic MACD has pretty much well gauged the bottoms in the past, and has shown that the change in momentum. This was the bottom, of course, came in January 2015, but that shift in momentum when the MACD line crossed the signal line, so that's the blue line crossing the orange line, showed the change in momentum and the change in direction. And it's always been a very good indicator of showing that, and we got that signal back in June 2015, and then we got the next signal in March 2019. That's when Bitcoin really started moving to the upside, breaking that 6-7K area. And then, of course, we got this indication some time ago now, around about the 2nd of January, when Bitcoin started moving. We got that bullish cross. We got the cross of the blue MACD line on the signal line. So that's, this has worked out pretty well so far, and I think this indication has been a decent indication. But let's look at it on the weekly, because it's even more interesting on the weekly. We've got actually a significant move here on the logarithmic MACD, because essentially what's happened is now the MACD line, which is the blue line, has crossed the 0 line. Okay, and the 0 line is here, and once that crosses the 0 line, that is a very, very, very good indication that the bearish momentum is over and the bullish momentum is now taking over. And when we've had these significant pullbacks, I'll mark it out on a horizontal for you. Whenever we've had these significant pullbacks here, it's always been met with a cross of a bullish cross of the MACD, then a significant move to the upside. So if we go back to the 2015 bottom, which was around about the January time, okay, we came significantly down. MACD line came up, crossed with the signal line, bearish momentum waned, then Bitcoin started to move. Okay, as soon as it moved across the 0 line on the histogram, it really had a decent pump to the upside. Okay, same again back in 2019. It came down, hit around about minus 0.21. MACD line crossed the signal line, and then came up, crossed the 0 line on the histogram, which is the signal, and then it went for it. But the point is this, basically, is that when the MACD has actually come down this low, down here, this low, down here, this low, down here, this low, and has a cross, and then moves to the upside, to the upside, to the upside, it's always signaled a significant move for Bitcoin, and has never been wrong. Okay, I have to accept that there isn't a huge amount of data. It only goes back 2015, but still, in the cycles of Bitcoin, this has gauged it pretty well, and it's been a pretty good indication of what is coming next. And in my view, what comes next is that I think that we have a stab at some pretty higher prices. I've said this months and months ago. I think we've got a good chance of going for the 786 Fibonacci, which is basically 50K. We did it in 2019. There's no reason why Bitcoin can't do it here. We can see in 2019 we got the low in December 2018. Then we broke above the low. We came back up to the 786, which was about 14K. Then we came back to the 382, and then pretty much we went sideways into the halving. And I think, you know, I think Bitcoin's got a good chance of doing that. So essentially what it do is come up to the 786, then come back down to the 382, go sideways into the halving. Certainly, if we start getting these higher prices up in the sort of 42 to 50K mark, I think that for me personally is a good area to take some profit and take some risk off the table and see what happens. Because as far as I would say, I think that we continue to follow the 4-year cycle, which would mean that we get these potential higher targets in this region of about 42K to 50K, come up, and we come down, we cool off, then we go sideways, consolidate for a long time, then we go into the halving, and then we go for our higher prices. This, of course, could all change if there's some sort of melt up in the stock market, but you know, I'm not sure whether I still buy into that. But you know, we just have to play things level by level and gauge the sentiment and the situation at the time. Anyway, hope you like the video. If you want to join the group, check out the website. It's probably easier to DM me on Twitter rather than email through the website, but you can email through the website. There's also a link in the description for a Bitget bonus, a deposit bonus and a trade bonus. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.